Welcome everyone to this new exciting interview segment. Today we have the pleasure of sitting down with Jamie Thomas King, star of the Uptv amateur for the Prince. Join us as we delve into Jamie's insights into his character and the challenges of filming this movie. Thank you for being here, Jamie.
Thank you for asking me.
Great, we can start. Can you tell us a little bit about your character in A Match for the Prince?
Yes, so I play Prince Maximilian Lucian Adelwulf III, who is heir to Voldaria, which is a country in Europe. It's obviously a fictitious country in Europe. And his dilemma is that he must find love before his 40th birthday. Otherwise, he will lose the crown. And so he's very unlucky in love, and he has to find a matchmaker who can help find a bride, and so they hire this romance novelist to try to understand who the best fit this prince is, and obviously romance use.
And what initially attracted you to your role in the movie?
I really like the idea of all of the dialogue was very rat-a-tat-tat, and it had this kind of dynamic, like old sort of a movie like Spencer Tracy, Katharine Hepburn kind of wordplay, and that really appealed to me, just from just getting to play, getting to play that much with another actor is really fun. So I was looking forward to that.
Yeah. And what do you think makes this movie so special and captivating?
I think, it's a fairy tale. It's a fairy tale that, as all fairy tales, has some real human truth to it, which I think, is we all want love. We all want to love and to be loved, and yet I think we all, as human beings, struggle to be vulnerable and authentic and open, to be able to let love flow freely. And it's a fairy tale that reminds you to embrace the messiness. And I think that's a cool message.
Yeah. And what do you hope audiences take away from watching this movie?
I think just that. I think that our minds will always tell us, will always try to defend us to being vulnerable, and I think what this film reminds us is to not necessarily always take that too seriously. It's good to laugh at yourself. It's good to sometimes do things that make you feel uncomfortable. All of the things that Max has to go through in this film to become humble, to as I say, to be open to the love that's right in front of him. He has to disarm himself, and I think we all have to do that. So yeah.
And what was it like working with the rest of the cast on set?
It was wonderful. For me, COVID was a really difficult time for acting and for actors, and for the level of the kind of work that we do, because we thrive on that connection, on that human. And Zoom is great. Don't get me wrong, Zoom is great, but it's not the same as being with people, And I think after basically 2 years, being on Zoom with people, it was the first job that I did after COVID, and that most people were doing, and everyone was so grateful to be there and to be to be playing and to be in that space, you know. Um, and I think as a result of that, we had a lot of fun, and that shows in the film. And you know, I really kind of, I think I took that away after this project. I took that the knowledge, like not the first time that I ever knew this, but that if you approach something with real simple appreciation and gratitude for being there, then very often the best of you comes out, you know. And I think, yeah, I think we all kind of felt that, you know.
Great. What can you tease about your character journey?
Well, I think it's always fun to watch somebody who takes themselves very seriously be laughed at for that, you know. Um, and he's someone who uh, you know, I mean, I think if you're born into a role like that, where your destiny is somewhat predecided, you're going to be the king, and you know, you probably there is a part of you that you have to switch off, you know, that playful, because you pay a price for it, you know. If you're vulnerable and you're in that role, and people, I don't know, I think it's probably he's suspicious and doesn't trust people for good reason. Um, so watching that unravel for him, I think is really fun, you know.
Yeah. And what was your favorite scene or moment while filming this movie?
The first scene that we filmed was the scene when they have to eat, where they're eating hot dogs on the corner of the street, and it was the first scene, and you know, obviously a shooting day very early in the morning, so we had to eat, I think, maybe 6 or 7 hot dogs at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and we were, you know, I think we were probably enthusiastic in the beginning, but by the fifth, sixth one, it was right difficult to push them down. So the director actually, in solidarity with us, the director had, I think she had 2 hot dogs.
Okay, great. And change of subject.
Mm.
What have been some of the most memorable projects you have worked on throughout your career, and why for you?
I've been lucky. I've had a few. I think the Tudors really stands out for me because I got to play not only a real person, but somebody who had a huge impact on culture. And you know, so I played the poet Thomas Wyatt, who was the lover of Anne Boleyn, and was also a poet. And his poetry about his unrequited love um, was a huge influence on Shakespeare and all the people who came after him. He invented the sonnet, you know, the sonnet, which was a way of writing poetry that was made famous in Italy by Petrarch. And Thomas Wyatt made his version of that, and then it was Shakespeare that made the sonnet, you know. So bringing that to life, and also bringing that to an audience, a younger audience, and an audience that maybe, you know, thought of that history or that the poems that they had to study at school, and they maybe thought that it was a bit boring, you know. And you know, in the Tudors was kind of cool. It made it kind of sexy and you know,
Yeah,
relatable, which was cool. So yeah, I mean, I as an actor, I started in the theater, and I love classical Shakespeare and classical works. But obviously, I love American cinema, and you know, that kind of American acting, that screen acting, the James Deans and the Marlon Brandos. And so I suppose for me, it's always about, which aspect of performing I get to do, because Shakespeare and they're all very different from each other, and they ask you to kind of think about the audience's experience. I mean, I think that's what is really important as a storyteller. Is it's very easy for us to get caught up in our experience as storytellers, but it's most important is, what is this going to be like for the audience, who've never seen this, they don't know what to expect. How do you deliver something to them that feels for them, so the moments in my career where I've had that's what really, those are the ones that you remember.
Yeah, great. And so, at survival shows, we are big fans of Christmas rom-coms.
Mm,
What is your all-time favorite?
that's a good question. I mean, do you mean a Christmas one, or
Christmas
specifically,
one. Yeah.
does Elf count?
Yeah, yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
I mean, I love the movie Elf. My son and I watch that every year, and it's funny. It's funny every time I watch it. Um, but Love Actually and The Holiday, those kinds of films, when they're always on, right? And you
Yes.
always kind of catch yourself. I often find myself watching them for longer than I think I would do. There's something, I think the thing is, there's something about rom-coms, that when they're good, they make you feel happy watching them. So you kind of just want to, you keep watching a bit more. It's like, a little bit
Yeah.
more cake, just a little bit more cake, a little bit more cake.
Yes. And can you tease something about your next projects?
Yeah, well, my wife and I, so last year was a pretty crazy time in the acting world again, post-COVID, with all the strikes and the writer strike and the acting union strike. And during that time, my wife and I started a production company, and we've both been writing and coming up with ideas for things, for forever. But I suppose this was an amount of time that we had that we could just keep, because we were uninterrupted. And anyway, we finished our short film, our first short film. We just finished editing that, hoping to be touring that around film festivals later on in the year. And yeah, as I say, we have this production company, so we have a few different projects, different vehicles for us, but also projects that we're writing for other people. And that's been very exciting, because I think, and there's a crossover between acting and writing. And Shakespeare was obviously a great writer, but he was an actor, and he used to act in all of his plays. And I think, I in acting is, anyone out there who's considering doing it, you go through periods of time where you're not busy, and sometimes, and the classic thing of feast or famine, you're either really, really busy or you're not. And actually very, very often it's not in the middle. It's either really intense or it's really nothing going on. And most people that I know have that kind of experience being an actor. So being able to have your own projects, it kind of helps in those periods where you're not busy. It helps you to feel that you're still doing it. You're still engaged.
Productive.
Yeah. And then when it means that when the acting jobs do come around, you're in a creative, excited, optimistic place, as opposed to, feeling sorry for yourself and feeling like you haven't been invited to the party. So I think it's, their life lesson approaches, but it's good things happen when you hustle,
Yeah.
and yeah, so that's what we have going on right now.
Will you come to Venice Film Festival with your short film?
Please, I mean, yes, we would love to. Obviously, yeah, for sure. I mean, I think we're now in that period where we just finished editing. Everything is new for us, so we've been actors for 20 plus years. But, when you're an actor, you come along and you do your bit and then you go away. And there's so much that happens before and after that event. And so, for us as producers, every single stage in the process has been sort of very eye-opening and revelatory. And we're at that point now where we're going to take it out into the world and see how they respond. It's not like a match for the prince. It's a very raw, emotional, intense, visceral experience. And we made the film to talk about things that we felt were important to talk about: mental health and celebrity culture and addiction. And so we're really hopeful that we will tour the world and have conversations with people who experience these things unique to their culture. But I think that the film, but yes, we would love to come to Venice. I would absolutely love to do that. Yeah.
Great. I hope so.
Wonderful. Well, so nice to meet you, Desiree. Thank you.
Nice to meet you. And make sure to watch the movie A Match for the Prince on Sunday, 16th on UPTV. And thank you, Jamie, for being here. And thank
My
you
pleasure.
for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.